Well, hello everyone, and welcome to a bit of a double header here. We are going to be doing a bit of a special one when it comes to the F1 season and where we are at the moment. Um, we're going to do a review of the Spa 2024 Grand Prix, of course. We're also going to do a bit of a review of just how the first half of the season has gone, of course. But lastly, we are also going to discuss the things that are happening, the things that are going to happen during the summer break. Because at the end of the day, sometimes it's when nothing's going on, or nothing should be going on, that everything ends up happening. And we're already at this point. Already, with regards to decisions that have been made, decisions that haven't been made, which is absolutely intriguing. So, should we start off with talking about Spa 2024? And, well, I have to say, on the Saturday, I was building the hype for the race. It looked very intriguing. Obviously, we had the wet dry qualifying. I was intrigued about that. Wet damp qualifying more than anything else. But I was nervous for the Sunday race because the last time we had qualifying, I'm pretty sure, was 2021. And we all know what happened when it came to that. But what a race! What an absolute race. I think we had about four race leaders, I think it was. 4 or 5 race leaders at some point during that race. And really impressive. Really, really, really good stuff to see. I mean, Verstappen didn't scythe through the grid as we feared he might. There was interesting battles that were happening near the back when it came to how the Stakes were doing, how the Alpines were doing, how the Aston Martins were doing. There were some real good battles that were going on at the bottom. And we have the stuff that happened at the front as well. The absolute amazing thing of Leclerc at some point performing well, Hamilton at some point performing well, Russell performing at some point really well. And look, I have to say this: we all know now that Russell has been disqualified, despite the fact that he won the race. Okay. But take nothing away from him. He put up a stellar strategy. I mean, the irony is the strategy that he put up might have been the thing that got him disqualified, because there's talks of the fact that the one-stop race meant that the tyres were too light, which meant that the car was too light, and the lack of pickup meant that his car didn't meet the weight criteria. That's a bit frustrating, and maybe that makes it a dumb strategy move. I don't know. But what a clever idea to do something. Just roll the dice. Of course, the wild thing is that the more things change, the more they stay the same. Who are the multi-race winners in 2024? Max Verstappen and Lewis Hamilton. It's like the past 3 years didn't exist, is it? It's just a continuation. I mean, if you had said to me if that these were the results of the 2022 season, I would have believed you, because that would have made sense. But wow, it's absolutely crazy. And I've got to say, any one of, I was about to say the top 3, but the top 2, either of Piastri or Hamilton deserved to win Spa 2024. Right? Hamilton absolutely blitzed it and controlled it right at the start, and Piastri, I think if it weren't for the track itself, probably would have won the race. I think there's been some conversations in regards to Spa itself as to whether it's suitable for modern F1 cars. I think this is a thing that I find is quite funny on this, because this time last year, the DRS was too strong and passes were too quick. So they shortened the DRS, the length of distance that you have drag reduction system, by 75 meters, and it became slightly too difficult. And I know there's been some people going, "Oh, is this like Monza where it's actually not suitable for modern Formula One cars?" But actually, it wasn't that far off being the perfect race. Genuinely, genuinely wasn't that far off from being the perfect race. I reckon if there was maybe 10, 15 meters more of DRS, you would have had the perfect balance between overtakes being possible um, and overtakes being easy. Does that make sense? It was still would still have been a challenge. And actually, there were some absolutely brilliant overtakes, and there were some fantastic ones on the brakes, bus stop chicane especially, where just these overtakes were going well, and just really, really clever. I don't think that actually too much um, side can be directed at Sparrow. I think it was actually a really good race. It wasn't easy to overtake, it was a challenge. And I think that's brilliant. Now, in terms of the actual season as a whole, as to how it's been, the first half of the season, I think any of us watching the Formula One season might have been concerned the first couple of races where Sainz was sorry, not Sainz. Verstappen was winning all the races. I'm just hoping on Sainz, aren't I? But wow, who have we had as race winners over the past 7, 8 races? Lando Norris, Oscar Piastri, Carlos Sainz, Charles Leclerc, George Russell, Lewis Hamilton, twice. That's impressive. We're starting to get some really incredible numbers and really proud numbers. Like, this is exciting stuff. And actually, look, let's face it, Max Verstappen's probably still going to win the World Championship, but it's the races that matter most. Like, exciting races are what matters. And, yeah, Max Verstappen actually deserves the title if he wins it. Yeah, I said it. But yeah, I think it's been really cool to see all these cars, all these drivers, all performing well and really, really good. So, how about what we're going to look forward to for the rest of the season? Well, I just hope for more of the same, to be quite honest. And I hope for a quiet, calm summer break until the next Grand Prix, which I think is in Zandvoort, just so that we can get our heads around things. But no, we're not getting that. What have we had as our news? We've had the driver that we expected to be replaced not being replaced. We've had the driver that we knew was going to move moving to a place we didn't expect him to move. We had a driver who was leaving, moving to another team, which was also a surprise. And by the way, just to throw this one out there, new team principal at another team as well. There's a lot to unpack. Let's see if we can unpack this all as much as possible. We'll start with the bigger news and then we'll finish off with the small news, which actually I think is worth digging into even more to a certain extent. So let's start off with the big one, the most modern one. Carlos Sainz is moving from Ferrari to Williams. Now, on paper, this sounds like a ridiculous move, right? Out of all the teams he could have gone for, whether that be Audi, which he had a chance because Carlos Sainz's dad literally has part of that team, Alpine, who are performing decently, and Williams, he chose Williams. Now, on paper, yes, that sounds a bit bizarre, but I actually think this is a stroke of genius. Let me explain. Williams, yes, are still a lower performing team, but they are a team that's on the up. They are performing slowly better and better and better. Whatever you say about like the lesser drivers at Williams over the past couple of years, whether that be Nicholas Latifi, whether that be Logan Sargent, even Nick de Vries, that car has been capable of getting the lower end of points, even with like an average driver, average Formula One driver, of course, but still an average driver, performing. And Albon has done wonders, been getting fifth onwards and everything like that. Very, very impressive stuff. And now they're signing Carlos Sainz, and I think Carlos Sainz is one of the most underrated drivers of all time. Probably not even of Formula One, just everywhere. Rallying, whatever. Like Carlos Sainz Jr. is impressive. And I get the feeling I might do a bit of prediction here. In fact, I am going to do a prediction. By the end of 2026, Williams will have 5 podiums by the end of 2026. And I'm going to do a bit of a bet here. If Williams do not get 5 podiums for 2026, I haven't thought this far ahead. I will try and... Do you know what? Yeah. If they don't get 5 podiums by the end of 2026, this is what I'm going to do. I am going to find a cosplay of the Duracell sponsor. Whether that be like the battery or the bunny, I don't know. But if Williams do not get 5 podiums by the end of 2026, I will dress up as either the Duracell battery or the Duracell bunny. We're clipping that. Anyways, that's Sainz and Williams. Now let's talk about... I'm going to go to Ocon. Ocon signing for Haas. One of the weird things is that apparently Ocon has signed for every team that Hulkenberg's left, which is weird. Very, very weird. Oh, was it Magnus? No, it is Hulkenberg. When Hulkenberg left Force India, Ocon signed for Force India. When Hulkenberg left Renault, Ocon signed for Alpine. It was kind of mad. Now, I've got to say this. Ocon's pairing with Ollie Behrman at Haas. I think that's a really clever lineup by Haas as well. Because Oliver Behrman is a good Formula 1 driver. We saw it in Saudi Arabia. He does know how to drive the car. 2 days of practice and he got a Ferrari. Yes, Ferraris were good at that time, but in the top 10, and that is impressive stuff. But he's going to be the young kid, the understudy. And I think Ocon needs to be in a team where he feels like the leader and he'll be comfortable. I think it's a really clever idea, and I think he's the type of guy, I almost put him like an older brother type of guy, that he will, because he knows that Oliver Behrman is potentially not going to be challenging him for the number 1 spot next year. I think he will have like this older brother thing that he will sort of put his arms around Ollie Behrman and sort that out. So that might be a clever one. I get the feeling that'll be a clever little signing. Will Haas perform well? Maybe, we hope so, but I don't know. I think they're going to be continuing to be battling for points. I get the feeling that they're going to be the type of team that is always going to be up and around the points, but not really constantly challenging. So there's that. How about the last 2 news? Well, the other thing is Red Bull. They have not let go of Perez. They have not promoted Ricciardo yet. Anyway, now that's weird. If I'm being honest, I'm not understanding this. If this was someone like Albon when he first started at Red Bull, and he's still fairly new to not just a team but to Formula One as a principal, then yeah, I sort of get it. If it was Gasly again, who was still new to Formula One at the time he was at Red Bull, struggling along, and he was kept by Red Bull. I'd sort of get it. And but I don't get it for Perez. I really don't. This is someone who should have the performance, like whether it be McLaren, where where he performed well at Force India Racing Point, where he performed fantastically, getting the wins. We should be expecting better of Perez. And it's a mystery wrapped in an enigma here, because I don't understand how Perez is struggling so much. What pressure is he putting on himself? What is he doing to himself that's causing him so much problems, so much chaos, so much challenges? He is a race winner. He is someone that qualifies on pole, but yesterday's race, electrical problems aside, he started 9 positions ahead of Verstappen and finished 1 position behind. That's embarrassing. And I don't get it. And the whole Red Bull organization just doesn't seem to be right anymore. Imagine being Yuki Tsunoda, or Daniel Ricciardo, or Liam Lawson, or any of the ones that's in the Red Bull categories going to that's in F2 at the moment. Any one of them is deserving of a Formula One seat, but there seems to be this like bottleneck where they don't want to go for it because I think Red Bull's going to lose some talent. And if I'm being honest, as it might sound like I'm enjoying this to a certain extent, but I think this is going to start to see a downfall in Red Bull. Like, this is not like a shock. Oh my god, they're doing poorly that we saw from a time where Vettel went from being world champion to struggling even to get podiums. We're talking about just this dip. They've got the third best car now in the grid. Mercedes and McLaren have got better cars than Red Bull at the moment, or seemingly so anyway. And they can't afford to have somebody who's struggling to perform. Like, and here's the thing: we said that Perez started second. With the qualifying, he could have started 11th. He was 0.003 of a second away from not even qualifying in Q3. It would have been P10 because of Verstappen's penalty, but you know what I mean, yeah? I think for Perez's sake, he needs to move. Maybe go to Alpine, I don't know. But I don't think it's working. I heard a wild suggestion that maybe swap him for Bottas, and I'm not exactly against that anymore. I think that's not a bad move either. But there's that. The last one is the fact that Binotto has gone to Audi. Or stake at the moment, but Audi is in the future. I'm not sure. I hope Binotto's learned. I really do, but the thing that concerns me here is the fact that Sainz could have gone to Audi. Binotto signs for Audi, and then Carlos Sainz moves to Williams. Now, here's the thing when it comes to bosses. If you found your former boss at a job that you're potentially interested in, if Sainz had gone to Audi after Binotto had signed for Audi, I'd be like, oh my goodness me, Binotto knows how to lead that team. Sainz trusts that guy. But if I'm being honest, Sainz not signing for Audi, that is damning on Binotto. That's a poor reputation he's got. inwardly anyway. Now, maybe it'd be a great move. Maybe I'd like it to be, because Binotto on the outside seemed like he had like this um, lovable nerd vibes about him, and who knows? We'll see. Um, but I'm not sure. I think this Audi project's going to be a flop, if I'm being honest. In fact, this is not going to be a prediction where I'm going to get any challenges, any challenges or anything like that. But I genuinely think that Audi will perhaps get 2 podiums and then leave. I don't see this working. I think Audi's going to be the next Honda. But maybe I'm wrong. Maybe Williams aren't going to get anything. Maybe Audi are going to be the next constant constructors champions. Maybe Ocon's going to be a world champion. I don't know. Maybe Hulkenberg's going to get 15 million podiums. I don't know. But ultimately, let's focus on the here and now, because the here and now this season has been absolutely epic. And I'm looking forward to seeing whatever else happens. I hope you guys are looking forward to the season as well. And maybe Max Verstappen will win the championship by the end of the year. But my goodness me, it's going to be interesting to see who wins each and every race. Enjoy it with us.